Hey guys, I'm sorry I'm not there today, but here is a video for the notes that I was going to give you today. So we are writing equations using 2 points or a point and a slope. So we need our slope formula. We need the point slope form of an equation and the slope intercept form of an equation. So what we're going to do is write an equation in point-slope form of the line that passes through a given point and has a given slope. All right, so let's start off by using the point-slope form. So that's y minus y1 equals m, the slope, times x minus x1. And x1, y1 is your point. So this is my x1 and my y1. So we just plug those numbers in and we're done. So we have y minus 3, that's our y1, equals our slope, negative 2, times x minus the 5, because that's our x1. And that's using point slope form. Now we're going to change this into the slope intercept form. So all we have to do is solve for the y. So we're going to first distribute. So we have negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10 equals, and then we just bring down our y minus 3. And now all we have to do is add 3 to both sides of our equation. And we're left with y equals negative 2x plus 13. So from here, we can identify our slope as negative 2, and our y-intercept is 13. So let's do this again. So we have our x1 and our y1 and our slope. So we just plug it into the equation. So y minus y1 equals m, the slope, times x minus x1. So we're going to plug in our numbers. So we have y minus 7 equals our slope 3/5 times x minus our negative 2. So this becomes x plus 2, because minus and negative is positive plus. And so I'm just going to pull everything down. And this is our point slope form. Okay, so now we want to change to slope intercept form. So I'm going to first start off by distributing. Okay, so I have 3/5 x plus 2 times 3/5, which is 6/5. We like to leave our numbers in improper form, improper fractions. Bring down the y minus 7. Okay, so now what I want to do is add 7 to both sides of my equation. And I have y equals 3/5 x plus 6/5 plus 7. So I'm going to change my 7 into 35 over 5, because that's what 7 is equal to. And then I can add the fractions together because they have a common denominator. So 35 over 5. So I'm adding that, and that's 6 plus 35 is 41 over 5. And we're just going to leave that in that improper fraction. All right, so now let's find the equation of a line given 2 points on the line. And feel free to pause this video to copy these notes down. All right, so first thing we have to do is find the slope using the slope formula, okay? Then we're going to use point slope form, and then we'll change to slope intercept form. So first we have to find the slope. All right, so our slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so I'm just going to label this first point as the 1 and the second point as the 2. Okay, so let's plug them in. We've got m equals my 1 minus the 5 over the 4 minus the 3. And I end up with negative 4 over 1, which is equal to negative 4. So this is my slope. Now we're going to put it in point slope form. So my formula, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this point right here because I've already labeled it x1, y1, and this is my slope. So I just plug those in. Y minus 5 equals negative 4 times x minus 3. So this is my point slope form. We're done. I could have used the other point as well, and the equation would look different. But when I go to solve to change it into the slope intercept form, they would end up being the same. So let's go ahead and start off by distributing. So I have negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 3 is plus 12. Bring down the y minus 5. And now I'm just going to add 5 to both sides of my equation. And I get y equals negative 4x plus 17. All right, let's do this again. First thing we do is find the slope. So I'm using the formula, and I'm going to name, again, this is my x1, y1, and my x2, y2. It doesn't matter which one you name which, okay? Just as long as you follow the order once you've assigned it. Okay, so y2 is negative 1 minus the y1 is 7 over x2, which is 1, minus 0. So I have negative 8 over 1, so my m is negative 8. Now I'm going to plug it in to the point slope form. So I have y minus, I'm using this one, 7 equals negative 8 x minus 0. And then when I go ahead, that's my point slope form. Actually, yeah, just leave it like that. You could also use negative 8x and leave it because 0 times the negative 8 is going to give us 0, and we don't have to write that. But you can leave it like this and it's still correct. All right, so now we change it into slope intercept form. If I were to distribute this, I would get this negative 8 right here. Negative 8x equals y minus 7, and now we will add 7 to both sides of our equation, and we end up with y equals negative 8x plus 7. All right, so we're finished with this page. Let's go to the next. Okay, so here's some example problems. Which one of these equations is coming from these 2 points? Which one of these equations have these 2 points on the line? So first thing we want to do is find our slope. So I'm going to use the slope formula. All right, so I'm going to say 0 minus 6 over 8 minus 6. So I have negative 6 over 2, and that reduces to negative 3. So I have m equals negative 3. Now I pick either point, to plug in, and I think I'm going to use this one right here because it has a 0 and it's easier to work with. So I'm going to use my point slope formula and plug it in. So I have y minus 8 equals negative 3 times x. Oops, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Let me back up. I have to make sure that I use x1 comma y1 here. So I'm going to say y minus 0 equals negative 3 over 1, which I don't need to write, x minus 8. So now when I simplify this, or this is my point slope form, and still none of these equations match that. So I'm going to keep reducing my equation. So I have y equals negative 3x, and negative 3 times 8 is 24, but that's plus 24. So negative 3x plus 24. It's not this one. Negative 3x plus 24. Well, I have a plus 24 on this one. And this one, if I would have to simplify it, I have to solve it for y so I can make sure. So here I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And I get y equals negative 3x plus 24. That one looks like it's the one. But let's go ahead and combine like terms on this. Oh, I don't even have an x in here. So it's not that one. So then we have the second one. Everyone understand where I got that? Let's move on to the next one. So I have negative 2, comma 2, and the slope is already given to me. So let's see if we can figure out which equation that is. This equation right here has the negative slope, negative 1/2 slope in it. So let's see if when I write it in point slope form and switch it to y equals, if I end up with the same thing. So this is my x1, y1. So I have y minus 2 equals negative 1/2 x minus a negative 2, which becomes negative 1/2 times x plus 2. All right, so I'm going to distribute. So I have negative 1/2 x, and negative 1/2 times positive 2 gives me negative 2 over 2, or negative 1. And then I have my y minus 2 over here. So let's add 2 to both sides. And we get, excuse me, y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. And that is the right equation that we thought it would be. This one has the wrong slope. And if I solve for y here, I'm going to get, so 2y plus x equals 2. If I solve for y, I'm going to subtract my x. And I'll end up with 2y equals negative x plus 2. And then if I divide everything by 2, I get y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. And so this one is also correct. So in this one we had 2 correct answers. Hope this helps.